Baker. Mike Albee now has defeated Earl Anthony. So in the final, Mike Albee goes against part-time pro Bill Straub, first championship round appearance this year. And this is our final match, $17,000 to the winner, $9,500 to the runner-up. Look at the size of the tournament leader, 6'5", 255, 30 years old, from the capital city of Lincoln, Nebraska.
And what a powerful bowling ball he has.
And lofting it out on the lanes and getting a strike.
Credit to Bill Straub. You know, he, as tournament leader, gets 6 practice balls while we're away in a commercial message, Chris, and Albee gets none. The challenger does try to equalize the match between the tournament leader and the contender. But Albee, Straub didn't get any strikes on the left-hand lane. He starts with 1 in the match.
Crossing over, got a break, leaving the 2, Mike Albee on the right lane, who won the match over Anthony 225 to 211.
Goes right through the heart and gets a break, doesn't get the 2-7 split. Knocks the 7 pin out. Look at that bouncing pins. That's really amazing. You know, years ago, Chris, when they used to use wood pins, boy, you'd never see them bounce like that. They lay down and die, which made it a lot tougher to knock down.
So Mike Albee here in the final match. The Rolaids Open has marked with a spare. Mike, the 21-year-old from Indianapolis, has a special guest here today, Jason McGammon. And Jason's mother and father. Jason, young fellow that unfortunately had brain surgery. And Mike's been right in his corner rooting him all the way.
Mike Albee's always generous with his time. In fact, in St. Charles, Missouri, which is just west of St. Louis area, he went out and bowled a muscular dystrophy benefit this week, Chris.
And there he is with a strike. And Mike rolled a 802 3-game series in that event. Ray Bluth, a great one.
Here's a Hall of Famer that's one of the great St. Louis bowlers. And, you know, I asked him what the difference between the bowlers of his era and the bowlers of our era right now, Chris. And he said on the lacquer, you couldn't get away with the big hook ball that guys like Straub use. And on the urethane finishes, you had to go down and in. But on lacquers, you had to go the big straight down in shot.
Boy, he looks overpowering, doesn't he? A double opening up this final match.
Open up he did, Chris. He opened the rack up on that. Now watch the tremendous wrist action of Bill Straub. 6'5", 250 pounds, and just tremendous uplift with that wrist. He just snaps the wrist right through the ball, counterclockwise around it. I really don't think there's anybody who can knock the pins down any better than Straub when he gets to the pocket.
Now he's on the left lane, 3rd frame, double up. He wasn't sure after he released that shot, but talk about power, explosion.
He came to play, and he's got a leg up on getting back into the Firestone Bowling's 3rd jewel of the Triple Crown. He is not eligible because he's not a touring pro, but if he wins here, he'll be in the Firestone and knock out Jay Robinson, who's now sitting in 52nd place on the eligibility list.
And Mike Albee is making sure that he doesn't run away too far. Albee with the double now. That's strike at the 3rd.
Solid as can be. Albee's fished a little bit on the right-hand lane, and now he seems to have found it, and both players are in the pocket. It's just who can be the toughest in the last 7 frames. Here's the release of Mike Albee. You see his hand going around the ball, and a little different than Earl Anthony. You saw the thumb rotate down and inwards, where Anthony's just stayed stationary. Albee with the stronger of the 2 balls between the left-handers, but Anthony with a little more accuracy.
All but the 3 pin on that pesky left lane for Mike Albee.
Seated right behind Mike Albee is one of another strong guys like Bill Straub, the linebacker for the St. Louis Cardinals, Tim Kearney, a bowling fan and quite a powerful guy. He's a good friend of mine. You know, he once wrestled a bear, Chris, and whipped him. He's quite a speaker, too, at banquets.
All right. Bill Straub, the tournament leader, leading Mike Albee by 11 pins. There will be more following this break.
Where's the birthday boy?
That's right, coming up next, Wide World of Sports Championship Boxing and Trick Shot Pool.
Bill Straub. Bill Straub left a 10-pin, Chris, converted, and he's leading by 10 pins, 5th frame.
And leaving a 4 on that left lane for the right-hander.
Straub is so powerful that the one thing he has to watch is when he gets in a situation where he's a little nervous or something, is not to try to overpower the ball. It's still a touch sport, and you have to keep that power in control. That particular shot, he just jumped all over it, almost got the 4-9 split.
On this championship pair, Bill averaged 262.
Wow.
Yeah. Goes for it and gets it. There in the 5th frame as Albee is up to shoot. Youngest man in the field at 21. Defeating Earl Anthony, if you just joined us. Previous game, 225 to 211. Before that, Anthony defeated Baker with a 226. And in the first game, Baker defeated Steve Westberg, 218 to 192. Well, a 2-7.
Mike is still losing that ball off his hands, and it's quite hot down there, and the ball just slips off your hand. It's the worst feeling in the world in bowling, and you just can't control it. You try to get some lift on it, you try to squeeze it, but it tightens your muscles up, and he's in a real difficult situation. We saw him changing the tape in his thumb hole in the earlier match, and he got through that match with Earl Anthony, but now he's in trouble against Big Bill Straub.
Oh, he thought he had it. Leaving the 2s, we replay the stroke.
Westberg in an earlier match didn't give it enough room, and he knocked out the 2-pin. Albee a little wide, knocks out the 7. Neither one of the players have been able to convert the baby split for the left-hander, the 2-7, and Albee's in trouble after 5 frames, down by 22.
Albee 9 inches shorter on the approach than his opponent, Straub.
Mike Albee leaves the 6-8, but yet the 3-pin comes to the sideboard and knocks out the 6, and it's almost the same hit that, say, the right-hander leaves the 4-9. Easy spare, cross lane, extra speed, and he'll only trail by 2, by 22.
All right. You know, tomorrow on ABC, This Week with David Brinkley, an extensive look at the United States-Soviet relations with 6 frames, Straub. Oh, yeah. Bill Straub of Lincoln, Nebraska, a farm manager and assistant bowling coach at the University of Nebraska.
Chris, he could have, just like a freight train, that shot. He caught it all, just dead square in the pocket, no doubt. I mean, look at those pins. They were just paralyzed. Straub is in the driver's seat now, leads by 22, could put him away with one more strike in the 7th.
Yesterday, he defeated Albee 266 to 237 in the position round game to gain the top spot in our live finals today. All but the 4.
He tried to root it in. Bill really jumped on it, gave it a lot of turn, a lot of room, and it looked like it was going to come back, but it didn't make it all the way back to an area where the head pin could do enough damage. The head pin knocked out the 7 and 5, but didn't catch the 4, and with a conversion here, Straub would maintain his 22-pin lead.
Bo, how's the other Hall of Famer in your family, Mr. Burton?
Nelson Sr.'s at
Yes.
home and studying these bowlers. This is his style of player. My dad was a power player in his day, a strong man like this Bill Straub, and he likes to see the guys who turn it up.
And it is a spare as we're going to leave live action here in Florissant, Missouri, but we'll bring you up to date when we return, so don't go away. This is the championship game of the Rolaids Open.